Manufacturers generally have an established order in which they do things. They release a new model, 2 to 3 years later, they give it a facelift, they prepare the new version, and then 5 or 6 years after the original, there's a new car. Honda have tried something different with their Ballade, skipping the facelift entirely, and just 3 short years after the previous generation, there is an entirely new model. And this is the new one. Longer and taller and roomier than the short-lived outgoing model, the new Ballade is almost a complete overhaul, offering a new look with an updated interior but the same engine lineup. No word from Honda as to exactly why they extinguished the previous generation prematurely, but I'm guessing it's because it was fairly dated from the day it was launched. The first thing you notice with the new Ballade is that it is obviously bigger, but beyond that there's not much else. A big chrome strip up front, some narrower headlights, but really it's not any more or any less attractive than the previous generation. If anything, it looks like a more timid version of the new Toyota Corolla. The rear, however, is a vast improvement, with sleeker taillights and a less dumpy overall look. The profile has also been improved by the addition of some extra sculpturing. The Ballade's extra length has allowed the wheelbase to be improved as well, and that's good news as far as interior space goes. Thankfully though, that's not the most exciting bit about the cabin. No, the exciting thing is that it's been completely redesigned. The old one had a very dated and somewhat Chinese-looking interior setup. It's been replaced by a very modern and very clean design, the centerpiece of which in this Eleganc version is a 7-inch touchscreen that does a very good impersonation of a tablet. It's all quite intuitive with gesture-based interaction, but it can be a little sticky, and having to push the same button 2 or 3 times can be a little annoying. But it does allow for connectivity of various devices and will even mimic the screen of your compatible smart device if you connect it via the HDMI cable. Good materials and decent spec are packed into a comfortable cabin, and that extra space that Honda has managed to engineer into here is very obvious. The seat material is a little close to old-school velour, but that's a fairly minor complaint in the face of the rest of the interior's talents. Honda have stuck with the previous generation's engine lineup, which means you get exactly one choice. A 1.5 litre petrol with 88 kilowatts and 145 newton meters. What is new is the gearbox lineup. You get the choice of a 5-speed manual, like we have in our test car, or a CVT. Although the engine's figures are the same as before, there have been some tweaks to help improve things. The 0 to 100 time is a little quicker, the torque peak kicks in earlier, which means overtaking is a little easier, and fuel consumption has been improved to 5.9 litres per 100 k's. It is still a noisy beast though, with the effort that the engine is making quite apparent anywhere above 4,000 RPM. It does feel good though. It's not blessed with massive amounts of power, but what it has is easily available, and it is a good drive. That's all helped by Honda sticking the Ballade on a bit of a diet, with the new model weighing around 60 kilograms less. The new model also has better torsional rigidity, which makes for better handling. There's been some work on the front suspension to make it more stable, and the electric power steering setup has been revised. Unsurprisingly, there's not a massive amount of fun to be had behind the wheel of a Honda Ballade, but that doesn't mean it's not enjoyable. The reworked steering feels good, the manual shifts are nice and snappy, and it does what it's supposed to do with little fuss and a comfortable ride setup. It's also got a few bits that make the daily drive a little easier, reversing camera with parking guide and hill start assist. Not major pieces of tech, but definitely contributors to its abilities. It can also boast a first for this part of the market, VSA, a system that combines traction control and stability control to help keep things tidy. I wasn't a big fan of the previous Honda Ballade because, although it was an okay car, it did nothing to convince you to buy it over the competition. Now, with a reworked interior, a slightly more capable drive and more space, the new Honda Ballade is a much more convincing package. Is it a character-filled joyride? No. Is it more worthy of your hard-earned cash? Absolutely. The 1500 motor carried over from the previous generation has identical figures, but improved power delivery and efficiency. It can still be noisy though. The biggest improvement is to the interior. While seat material isn't the most flattering, there's now more space, a far better design and cleaner layout, making the Ballade a better all-round package.